welcome back to Talking Blue alongside Matthew and Nick. We're really excited with what this Giants team has been. From where we started, at least we started 2-8. Matt and I were talking about it. I was on my way to Dallas, and we were talking about just how displeased we were with this team. I mean, there's a million excuses they could be having, but this team needed to win football games. That was the bottom line. They had talent on their roster, and we knew it. We broke it down all offseason, talking about how this team could win games, and they just weren't getting it done. Tommy DeVito walks in. They name him starting quarterback. He faces a 6-6 Green Bay team, a Green Bay team that coming off the Chiefs and the Lions, two of the best teams in the NFL, a top AFC, a top NFC team. They defeated both those teams. They come into MetLife Stadium, and the Giants silence them. They silence Matt LaFleur's undefeated in December. They take out that Jordan Love. Everyone's saying he's going to be the next Aaron Rodgers, all this stuff. Well, the Giants shut him down. Kayvon Thibodeau forcing the fumble. Jason Pinnock, interception. Darnay Holmes on special teams. And Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets, the Italian stallion, gets the Giants the victory. Matt, I've never been as much excited to watch the next few weeks of the season as I am now. Last year was exciting, but this is just exhilarating. Watching a local Italian-American player with Italian-American pride go out there week after week and win football games. He's on a 3-game winning streak right now. Matt, I want you to talk a little about what you've been seeing from him, because he's the star of the show.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. He has really taken his game and the Giants offense to a whole nother level. And this is without Darren Waller, our top receiving weapon, although he hasn't been amazing with us. But at the same time, Waller hasn't had enough targets. But enough talk about that. We'll talk about that later. Tommy DeVito has exceeded all expectations. It's almost in a way, might sound crazy, but it's almost like he doesn't have a ceiling at this point. Okay, obviously he does have a ceiling, but he's just been way better than anyone could have pictured, and he's just he's transformed the team. We're now looking like a potential playoff team, and I remember going into the Dallas game, I was texting you, Luke, about how bad the season is. So when we first returned, I hopped on, just made a first half recap, just talking about what happened every game and just the frustration a little bit. Then we posted the rant, and ever since we posted the rant, the Giants have not lost a game. And it was a thrilling 24-22 win over the Packers at MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, and one thing I love you said there was there's no ceiling, and that's true. Brian David talks about it all the time, not to ride the roller coaster, not to get too high. And I think he's doing a good job about it. You hear all the coaches talk about, he spent 7 days a week in the facility, training, getting better, and we're seeing that translate. He took 9 sacks in his first start against Washington. Well, let's look at it this way. This week he ran for 10 times. There was only one designed QB run. These were 9 times he scrambled. Well, think about it. He just cut down the 9 sacks into 9 scrambles and produced 70 yards out of that. Now let's think about that. He was losing almost 5 to 6 yards a sack. So Tommy DeVito just transformed to something that the Giants could not win with. They could not win when they were playing behind the sticks. We knew that. We knew they couldn't just get into their own situations with a young quarterback. Well, you know what Tommy does? He steps up in the pocket and he runs. He did it for 10 times, 71 yards. And that's really the reason why we won this game. I'm telling you, his ability to escape the pass rush. We stayed above the sticks. There wasn't many times where we were behind them. Nick, I know me and you, we talk defense, we talk linebackers, we talk Tommy a lot. Nick, how do you feel about this? Tommy DeVito really stepping up in the pocket and making plays with his legs, something he struggled with all year.
Yeah, I feel like he played great. The thing that is a good thing, he's improved every single game. And I think that's a sign of a player that has something to them, especially coming out of Syracuse, undrafted free agent. You really don't know what you're going to get. I mean, what are the chances that he ends up starting in the NFL, leading the Giants on a 3-game winning streak right now, and putting them, if they win out, or even if they lose a game, they still have a very decent shot at the playoffs this year. So I feel like he's been great, and I think his improvement each week has been the sign of great coaching from Brian Daboll. Obviously, I saw some fans calling to fire him, or at least consider to fire him early in the year. But I think no matter what, he's going to be back this year, next year. And part of that, a lot of it is Tommy DeVito and his improvement. You saw their hug at the end of the game.
Yeah,
Obviously,
that was just a wholesome moment. And
yeah, it was such a great moment. And I'm not going to lie, when I saw that stat about Matt LaFleur being 16-0 in December, I was like, oh, there's no way they're winning this game. But DeVito stepped up. His teammates rallied around him, and they got a win. And it was great.
You're right.
He improved. He was great. No mistakes, little to no mistakes. Doing his absolute best behind a not-so-great offensive line right now.
Yeah.
And making the best of the situation.
And that's exactly what he's saying. He has played perfect football. And let me break that really down for you. He was 17 of 21. He didn't take a sack. He only two of the balls he missed early in the game. There was the one to Saquon, the one to Wandale, which he hit both of those passes later in the game on the last game-winning drive. How ironic that. But to think about it, he only threw 4 incompletions, and there was no drops either. So we talk about complementary football. Every coach talks about that. Winning on special teams, defense, and offense. They definitely won this game offensively. We've talked about it. 10 points is not complementary football. That's just not. It's not good enough. I know they got the win and against the Patriots, but that was not complimentary football. They relied on their defense, which is that's not complimentary. This game, they put up 24 points. This wasn't 24 points by the defense. This is 24 points by Tommy DeVito. And he ran for 158. He threw for 158, ran for 71, and then also Saquon Barkley had over 100 scrimmage yards. Obviously, the fumble was bad. Matt, I want you to talk a little bit about another guy, though. A guy that we're not talking enough about, the second-year player, Wandale Robinson, with an absolutely humongous game.
Yeah. He had one hell of a game Monday night, and going into the season, he was injured. He had a torn ACL last year. He tore it Week 11 versus Detroit at MetLife. It was a very sad injury to watch, because then at that point I was like, yeah, we have no more receivers, and it felt bad for the guy because he was doing well, and now he's back. We signed Paris Campbell this offseason, and I thought he was going to be like our main slot guy, and he's really done nothing this season. Wandale Robinson has been a lot better and has really turned his game up and has really found his click again with the Giants, and now he's got to be our main slot receiver. I remember that big run he had that Saquon fed the ball when Saquon fed the ball to him. That was unbelievable. I didn't really think I was going to see that much. I remember the Giants drafting him. I was not too sure how to feel about the pick. And then at the same time, I watched his film and I was like, you know what? This guy could be pretty good.
And during the draft, he was a controversial pick. People said he was too small, too slow. But, he ran 24 miles an hour on that jet sweep, so I don't know how slow. And talking about the improvement, he's up to 400 scrimmage yards on the year. That's not bad numbers. And you got to realize limited snap count to start the season, was slowly getting back revved into it. And, he left off on the best part, his best game against the Detroit Lions on the torn ACL. He had over 10 catches that game, 100 yards. So you look at it, he was hitting his stride where he tore his ACL. And, he comes back under the big lights, Monday Night Football. Everyone knows what the pressure is. He was able to run the ball, catch the ball. And, Matt, speaking of his film, that's exactly what his film is from Kentucky. And they use it in the right way. Kafka did not call a great game. I will not say he called an elite game. He had some really bad calls on the run. But he called a good enough game and got the ball to his playmakers. And that's what's important. Nick, I want you to talk a little bit about that, about how they were able to feed their playmakers properly.
Yeah, well, Wandale obviously had a great game. I feel like he's a perfect gadget player for you guys. He can kind of slot in anywhere. I even think they're going to start giving him more run in the backfield, even if you line up in double running back there, feed it to Saquon, misdirection back to Wandale. He's got so much speed. He's a great route runner, obviously, coming off an ACL tear. You really don't know what you're going to expect, especially from a 5'7" slot receiver. But I think he's at least established himself as your slot receiver for next year. And I think they're using their players as well as they possibly can in the situation. Obviously, you have little to no offensive line. So it's hard. It's going to be hard the rest of the year to be able to run Saquon to the ground if there's no blocking. But Saquon's making a lot of plays, especially in the receiving game, and that's opening up for other guys. They're really double teaming Saquon even in the receiving game, and that obviously shows how much respect they have for him, even as a running back, as a receiver.
Yes.
So I feel like they need to keep scheming up plays to get their guys open, whether it's the end around to Wandale, the wildcat with Saquon, or even Tommy DeVito, some more designed QB runs, especially in the red zone, whether it's read option or RPO, stuff like that. Easy rhythm throws for him. Keep it going.
Yeah. And we look at a lot of guys in college obviously have to run read options. That's a big part of college offenses in this new day and age. But he showed his ability to run the ball, which I think a lot of questions. He's shown his ability to run, and that's another big part. Now you know you could get some design runs with him, some read options, all different things. It opens up the playbook. And I think week in, week out, he's been showing his ability. He could throw the ball downfield. He could throw the middle routes. He could throw it short. He could run it. He has so much versatility now that he's showing week after week because he's improving. You could tell he's putting the time in. And it's just I just want to watch him every day. We sit through. We just want it to be Sunday again and watch him play, and that's where I'm going to transition over to the defense. I'll just highlight a few players that had absolutely massive games. Deonte Banks, a guy who has struggled to improve on the run game. He had a big game, broke up a huge pass in the end zone. He had a big game, knocked the balls away. But what he did, which he hasn't done all year, he had his career high 12 tackles, a tackle for loss. That's a big game. Kayvon Thibodeau, forced fumble, half a sack. He had a massive game. He tipped the ball down. He just was all over Jordan Love, and he was making plays. Again, he made plays in the run game, something we've liked to see. And then the biggest guy I want to talk about, a guy that gets almost to no credit, Ojulari. Matt and I have a special spot for Ojulari. I've just seen him, and I love him. I think he's so overlooked because he's hurt always. But when he comes back healthy, he's a great player, and that's what he was. Matt, tell me a little bit about some of those guys and what you liked and what you saw from them this week.
Yeah, obviously, the defense really had an excellent game. I think. Okay, I mean this season has been a disaster. Has been a very disappointing season, but the defense has really balled out lately. I want to talk about Deonte Banks first off. He's has a tremendous season. I was on Twitter earlier, I was just thinking, it was someone was comparing his rookie season to Sauce Gardner's rookie season, and obviously this season hasn't been as good as Sauce Gardner's rookie season for him, but this season has been really good. He's really exceeded expectations. Like, I knew when the Giants drafted him that he was a good pick. I was very excited that they got him from the get go. But at now I love Deonte Banks. He's one of my favorite players on the Giants already, and he's been great. Another guy I wanted to say, what was that?
I said he's just been great for us. I mean, that's what we need.
Yeah, another guy I want to talk about, you mentioned, is Kayvon Thibodeau. He was getting so much hate in the first 2 weeks of the season because he didn't have a sack. People are already comparing him to Michael Parsons because his rookie year he didn't already have I don't even know how many sacks Parsons had, but he had a crazy number. I think 12 or 13 sacks, something like that, his rookie year. And people were hating on Thibodeau because he didn't do that his rookie year. He was injured. He missed the first 2 games of the season. It took him a little while. He had 4 sacks that year. He had a huge game versus Washington, week 15 of the season, on Sunday Night Football, which was probably the game that got us that aside from the Colts game, the game that really made it possible that we could make the playoffs. And he just that's when we all knew all right, Thibodeau's here, and people would just hate on him at the beginning of the season. I knew he wasn't going to be a bust at this point. I remember Bob Papa was on Carl Banks, my bad. He was on a podcast and people were calling Thibodeau a bust, and he was defending Thibodeau, and then the people just kicked him off the show. So there's just no reason Thibodeau's a bust. It's not even a true statement at this point. Also, I want to go to Nick right now. Tell me about the Giants defense and how you think it translates or compares to the Jets defense in a way.
Yeah, I feel like Kayvon's obviously this is a breakout year. He's got, I believe, 12 or 13 sacks this year, and I feel like him and Dexter Lawrence feed off each other and complement each other perfectly. So if you think about it now, Dexter Lawrence gets so much attention, whether it's double teams, and even you see triple teams, and he's still making an impact. That's opening stuff up for Kayvon. And now Aziz, hopefully he continues to stay healthy. You saw what he can do. I feel like both of those guys feed off each other, and that's helping the linebackers as well. Obviously, Micah McFadden, he's been a great story this year, and Bobby Okereke are arguably the best middle linebacker in the league right now, forcing a lot of fumbles, making a lot of plays down the field, sideline to sideline. He's been a great player, especially in the Wink Martindale scheme. He fits perfectly. So it's obviously an all-around team game, and Deonte Banks, when the D-line is getting to the quarterback, it makes it easier on the corners. But Deonte Banks having a great season on his own. He's making a lot of plays that you normally don't see out of rookie corners. A lot of rookie corners struggle their first year. whether it was Stingley last year, you see Forbes this year, he got benched a couple times, burnt over the top. So I feel like he's been great, and he's only going to improve. Obviously, I saw a tweet today that they said Wink Martindale has been really pushing him in practice, working really hard to get a lot better in the run game, and that obviously paid off tremendously with 12 tackles, a tackle for loss on Monday night. So he's been great. They all complement each other perfectly, and the defense all year has remained consistent through a very lackluster season.
Yeah, and the only thing I think has been special teams has been an issue. We did get a game-winning kick and a forced fumble by Darnay Holmes. He made a great play. He's been getting a lot of turnovers this year. He's had to play in certain situations, but he's been a good corner for us, a good player when we've needed him. But it's been tough. The missed field goal, that was tough, but then they missed the field goal. So special teams has been okay. It hasn't been great, and I think that's something we could definitely clean up. And, looking ahead, we're not going to look too far ahead, but the Giants are in the race, and I think that's a statement that we all could accept now. And obviously, 4 weeks ago, we could definitely not be saying that. 2-8 after getting killed by Dallas. I think everyone wrote us off. Everyone told us what was going to happen. We were going to go maybe get another win, maybe one other one. We were going to finish the season like 4-13, get a new quarterback. But I think just that's not going to happen. I think we decided we're going to write our own script. We got nothing to lose. We lose the game, okay. Everyone expected us to be here. We're defying everyone's expectations. No one told this team they're going to go on a 3-game winning streak. We don't win on Monday night. Tommy DeVito comes, we win on Monday night. It's just been a great story this season, and it's tough. You lose both your quarterbacks. I mean, we wrote about it on Twitter, how many injuries we've had this year and how many bad things have happened. And, I mean, it's just crazy that we still have a golden opportunity, and an opportunity I don't believe we could let pass us. We have an opportunity with Tommy DeVito to make the playoffs. I don't know how we came to this point. I don't know how we're making this statement. But it's here. I mean, Sunday, he has another chance to send this team to the playoffs. And he will for the next 4 weeks. And, Matt, I don't know about you, but I'm just starting to get excited to watch this kid play.
Yeah, same. Just like you said, like I can't imagine, like if you told me like right before the season started, like when we were watching the preseason games, that Tommy DeVito would be our starting quarterback in week 15, I would have my head would have exploded if you told me that. Like I wouldn't have even believed you because I just thought, like, yeah, he's never gonna get into a game. All right, maybe if like something horrible goes on, like something goes horribly wrong, and he comes in, but he's not gonna see the field this season at least. But maybe he can serve as a solid backup to Daniel Jones. I just never would have thought this would happen. It's been an amazing story. We're happy for him. He went to Bosco in our hometown. We're all from Ramsey, New Jersey. He's from Cedar Grove, which is very close to where we live. And it's been an amazing story for Tommy DeVito and his family because he was an undrafted free agent out of Syracuse, local kid, and he's starting for the Giants and he's good. Like he's not just like a really sucky quarterback who shouldn't be playing. He's a really good quarterback. Obviously, I'm not comparing him to like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, or Jalen Hurts, but he's been really good for someone his caliber. And obviously, it's been fun to watch him.
Yeah.
And
that's perfectly said.
And just if I could jump in real quick, I feel like I can obviously relate to that as a Jets fan. Who would have thought week 1 that Tommy DeVito and Zach Wilson would be NFC and AFC Offensive Player of the Week?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's perfectly said.
It's insane to think about. Nobody could have thought.
I think that's any given Sunday. That's where that saying applies. That any given Sunday, anything could happen. I mean, that's why you can't lose faith in the team. People at 2-8, they weren't watching the Giants anymore. But now, Tommy Cutlets has really revitalized this fan base. I mean, Matt and I, we've been at most of the games. I've been at all of them, and the people they just love him. I mean, they just love him. It's just plain and simple. People go nuts.
Yeah, and I love Tommy.
I know. We love Tommy. We love what he's doing for this team.
We are his biggest fans on this platform.
Yeah.
He's feeding off the crowd energy, and it's great to see. In such a tough year, there's something to root for.
Yeah.
And That's really all you can ask for. And now they're competing for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
And what an awesome story this season could be. I mean, he loses out. The story isn't going to be the story we had. Let's just say necessarily he wins. Let's just say they complete NFL history. They finish on a 7-game winning streak, the first ever 2-8 team to make the 2-8 team to make the playoffs. I mean, who knows? Because I think that's what we could say now. I mean, a lot of people would have said absolutely not, but we don't know what this team could do. We've never seen Tommy DeVito against a really good team at the pace he's playing. Obviously, we saw him against Dallas. That was his first start. He looked iffy, but the way he's been playing now and the way, obviously, he's learning every week, I don't know what he'll do against Philly. I don't know what he'll do against the Saints or the Rams. All three are teams that are competing for playoff spots. All three teams are good playoff teams, and I think that's what just makes the rest of the season so interesting. And there's so much hope that we have now, and that's all you could ask for a fan is your team just giving you the hope and the opportunity to hope that your team can make the playoffs. And that's really it for me. Matt, any closing statements?
I got nothing. That was it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video with a few friends. Watch the last video we had Nick on. Link is in the description down below, so go check that out. It was a good episode. We will be posting a pregame show for the Saints game Saturday night, hopefully. We plan on it. But yeah, we'll see you guys later. Let's go Giants.